Okay, so let's go into head setup. Now, again, I'm using the Airtronics radio, but this is going to be the same for all you guys. So you want to get your stick at center stick for throttle, go to a pitch curve. For the Airtronics radio, 0 in, 0 out. For a JR radio, it's like 50 in, 50 out, etc., etc. But that will show you your center pitch. All right, so that's super important. Again, another tip to do is you can just go into a pitch curve and make it all flat 50. Then it doesn't matter where your stick is, you're going to be at 50. All right, so that shows we're at center. I'm just going to set the radio aside because we're not going to use it. Now let's take a look at the links and how they came. All right, so I've got the 28 millimeter, just went ahead and snapped them on. Now, there's some differences in this head with other heads you may have set up before. So as we work our way up the swash plate, first off, make sure your swash plate's level. Use a leveling tool if you want. I just kind of eyeball it. Level on elevator, level on aileron, all right? And basically, I just kind of look at the ball here and the swash, or look at relation to the frame to make sure I'm level. Okay, so the first thing, and this is going to be a little hard to do, is I want to show you where things are a little different than you might have set up a T-Rex or something. Most helicopters, you set up the washout arms you want straight across 90 to the main shaft. Not true on this helicopter, and the reason is these arms are a little longer and stick out farther from the swash plate, so this elbow arm is angled in relation to this arm. What they want you to do is be set up so this elbow arm and this arm are to 90, so that this pivot point right here is 90 degrees. Good way to check that is, it's going to be hard for me to do on video, but stick something square in there, line it up with the arm, okay, and then make sure that this edge here is in line with the elbow arm. So top edge along the washout arm, and the elbow arm should look 90 to this. As you can see, as best as I can get in there, I'm pretty 90. Alright, so if that is not correct, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can raise or lower your swash a little bit, or you can shorten this arm here, pulling this arm up. So if this arm's too low and they're more parallel to each other, you can shorten this link right here, which will bring this arm up and the washout. You're not going to get a whole lot. One turn here won't show a whole bunch. Raising or lowering the swash may also help, so you get these at 90. Remember, this is the relationship here, all right? So mine looks pretty good. I did turn these in one turn, you know, measuring a millimeter, 1.5 millimeters with a ruler in between that gap. You get some variances. So I tightened mine one turn here. I lowered my swash, these 28 millimeters, one turn, so I just went one turn down lower, and that got me pretty much perfect to 90. Okay, so that gets the washout up to the flybar cage. So now the next item to look at, and this is where your flybar needs to be level. And let me show you a quick trick here. I found that if you take a 3 millimeter Allen wrench, and it's a tight fit, and slide it under the flybar and between the head, just kind of slide it in there, it will lock that flybar down perfectly level with the head. Alright, so once you got your flybar locked down, then doesn't matter what you do, but we want to come back here and take a look at this mixer arm in relation to the long link going down to the swash plate. Again, we want that to be 90. So you can use a square, hold it along there, and make sure that link is 90. And if you look close, mine is pretty much right on 90. So again, this arm in relation to this link at this ball right here should be 90 degrees. That means these arms are not going to be level, okay? Way back when I did a Dragoness build, I leveled mine arms 90. I never noticed a difference in it flying, but we're going to set up the way the manual. So this arm here is not level with the head, it's slightly up. Okay, so that long link is 90 to there. This short link here will vary depending on where you have the ball, but the bottom line is, at this point, what you want to do is get 0 pitch. Alright, so I'm going to stick a tool in here and show you how to do 0 pitch pretty easy. Actually, let me get one with a longer shaft, a thicker shaft. Let's see, will this fit? Yeah, that'll fit. Alright, this is the way I like to do for a quick check. You can use a pitch gauge if you like, but if you stick a tool down in the blade grip, it fits pretty tight. Okay, and line it up with the main shaft, you can see whether you're 0 pitch or not. And as you can see, with that flybar locked, I am 0 pitch on that grip. Exactly 0 pitch. If this tool was slightly angled one way or the other, then what you do is, now here's one thing you got to pay attention to. If you change this length, it's going to move the grip, but it's also going to move the arm slightly. Again, the idea is to keep this 90 here. Alright, so you shouldn't, if you do one here, you might want to do one here. So if you lengthen here, you might want to shorten here so that you do these evenly and keep this 90 relationship. So if your grips aren't 0, I'd start with this link first, do a turn. If you're getting closer but you're still not 0, then come over to this link and do a turn. You want to keep that relationship here the same. I hope that's making sense. So again, for a quick check, I just stick a tool in the grips, got the fly bar locked as I showed, and we're going to check for 0. And actually, if you look real close, I am not quite 0 on this grip. It's slightly at an angle. Let me check the other one. I may have one link that's different. Yeah, this one is very slightly off too. So, and it looks like I'm in the negative range. So what I'm going to do is, meaning that the grip is twisted this way, giving negative pitch. What I'm going to do is I need the grip to come up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lengthen this short length one turn and see what I get. Alright, so let me do that. We'll come back and continue. Okay, so there we have it. Now I lied. I wound up shortening this short link one complete revolution, making sure the links are going on the proper way. And as you can see now, I run this tool in there and I'm dead nuts down that main shaft. And if I push it down, make sure it seats, we're pretty much at 0 pitch. Check your other grip. Okay, and there you go. And you should be at 0 pitch. If you're not, make sure you adjust things properly. So 1 second there. Yep, that looks 0 pitch to me. So again, the Allen wrench locking the fly bar worked well. A simple tool like this is good for just getting your 0 pitch now on the bench. If you want to throw the blades on and get a pitch gauge out, feel free. But that's basically head setup. So just to touch on this a little bit, remember, because of this relationship, if you adjust one and then you need to go more, adjust the other one. Try to keep a happy balance there. So when you're all done, this arm and this long link are at 90 to each other at this pivot point. So I know I'm repeating myself there, but that is basically the idea. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is check our full pitch range. And right now I'm just going to take a look. Okay, I'm bottoming out here. The washout's bottoming out on the head. And I'm coming way too low here. So as you can see, I've got too much throw. Let me check cyclic real quick. Yeah, I'm maxing out. So, alright, so on a Spektrum radio, you would go into your swash mix, and I'll just go into mine real quick. And you would go in and set your swash mixes and reduce the amounts, okay? So for instance, if you're 50-50-50 on, 50 pitch, 50 cyclic, aileron and elevator, you just reduce those amounts or increase those amounts. On this radio, the easiest way to do it is to go into your EPA, not CEPA. CEPA is for taking out interactions and adjusting one servo at a time. EPA affects all 3 servos. So I want to reduce my pitch. So I'd come over here into EPA, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to reduce it. I'm going to go full until my washout is not bottoming out on the bottom of the head, okay? And I'm not buzzing out my servos. Let's check low. Okay, that's still too low there. Oh, that's why. On this radio, so I wound up at 66 on high pitch. Now I got to reduce the stick, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to match that 66 for low stick. All right. Don't forget to do both sides on this radio. Okay. So there we go, 66 both ways. Let's see what we got. Okay, now that's full cyclic, that's full range on the pitch, all right? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put a blade on. I'm going to measure my full cyclic pitch, because this could be 15-15 for all I know. I have no clue until I put a pitch gauge on. So I'm going to go ahead and put a pitch gauge on. I'm going to measure my total pitch range. I'm going to set up for 13-13 myself. You guys just learning, you might want to set up 11-11, maybe even 10-10, so you're not bogging. But I set up 13-13. Let me tell you what I came back with and what my total movement looks like. Okay, so here's what I wound up with on my, now again, on other radios you're going to use swash mix menu to do this. So you're going to go in, if your pitch is too high, you're going to lower your pitch number. I came out with 60 on my EPAs on this Airtronics radio, and that was giving me 1313. As you can see, I've got about 1.5 millimeters before the washout bottoms out on the head, and I come down here and go full cyclic, and I'm not getting any swash interaction with the collar or the frame. Okay. Now also, I had to reduce my mix for aileron and elevators. It was far too much. Let me zoom in here and I'll try and show you this. What I did is I have lowered mine right now for, so you could look at right where the nylon bushing in here come with on the ball. What I did is I went just to where that nylon bushing is backed off a little bit from not hitting the main shaft. See that? All right, same with aileron. Okay. All right, and that's where I'm at. So that means I could get a little more cyclic if I wanted it. Basically, I dropped mine to 60. They basically matched the pitch. Okay, so I went 60-60 on my EPAs there. If you were using a DX radio, you'd probably drop your swashes. You probably started out at 50, and it may be fine for you on a DX radio. Basically, this radio is kind of has a higher mix like that, so dropping these EPAs was what was required and the simple way to do it. However, I could have used the get out of there. I could have gone in and used the swash menu if I wanted to. I could have lowered all my numbers here. Okay, I could have lowered all my numbers here, the 100, the 50, and all that, but you got to do some math. So if I lowered this 100 to say 70, I got to know what half a 70 is for these to enter them. So on this radio, using the EPAs, not the CEPAs, is the best way to reduce or increase your throws. All right, again, you DX radio users, your Spektrum radio users, you'd use your swash menu. Same with Futaba, you'd use your swash menu. All right, so that's basically where I wound up. Again, there's my pitch, and there's plenty of room. I think I could have probably got 14, maybe even 15 out of this head. There's that much room here. Again, right now I'm at 13, and that's where I've set my swash plate mix to. Again, enough so that nylon bushing is not hitting the main shaft, and I'm backed off there a little. All right, so I hope that made sense. All right, so that's where I'm starting. It means I could increase cyclic just a little more if I wanted it, but this will be my starting setup. All right, so that kind of completes head setup. At this point, you can go ahead and put your paddles on. I'm going to go ahead and do that next, but that's going to complete the head setup for now, and we'll continue on with the build.